to that concept of design from patterns to details, and I'd say this is very central to the whole permaculture process and how you're applying it anywhere. Think it through, plan it out first. Do it on paper, write it down, see if it makes sense before you actually go out and implement it. Not all great ideas are really that great. So we're trying to think laterally, go with best practice, do more research, do creative thinking, rather than just hopping out and saying, oh, this is too hard, or oh, we can't figure that out, or oh, the client won't like that, and I'm sure we can't sell it to them. There's probably a way to do it, it's just, can we spend some more time being creative about it? Integrate rather than segregate. Number 8. This ties in very closely with the previous principle. You're trying to bring together as many different things as possible. So in a business environment, one of the things, especially in small countries like New Zealand and Singapore, is to just cut out this my-patch mentality. Because so often it just revolves around like, oh, well, we're going to clearly define it, we're going to do whatever we can to protect this, and we're going to try and force everybody else out. But the reality is, if you're making opportunities and cooperating with other people, you're actually all going up at the same time. You're all creating a new wave, and that's what we really need right now. We don't need this old mentality of like, oh, I'm going to force out the competition. There's ways to specialize, there's ways to find niches, that's the way forward, people. No more of this, like, command and control. It's just not working. This is going to lead us to a truly resilient economy. So how we did it, for example, because we do a lot of web-based projects, okay, from my point of view as a business owner, it'd be all too easy to go out and just say, okay, yeah, I'll hire a web guy to do this, I'll have them on payroll, do this, that, and the other thing. But again, it kind of got us thinking, well, those people who do this in their everyday life, they love doing web stuff. They do a lot of different kinds of web stuff. Maybe we only need them for some time here and some time there. Why don't we just sort of outsource and dovetail with the stuff that they're doing and see if they can use us in other ways too. So we partnered with Net Potential to do a lot of web work and a lot of web projects. I think we've done sort of 6 now in tandem. And it kind of goes back and forth. I've actually contributed to some of the work that they've been doing as well. So it's a really great partnership. So early on, we're trying to identify more of those things as time goes on and take advantage of those opportunities. Because we can add value to their equation, they can add value to ours. What's the big rush? Use small and slow changes. Sorry, small and slow solutions. So there's still this outdated capitalist ethic of bigger, better, faster, more. Why? Why do we still need that? Not only that, what is a career? What is progress? What is success? Who wants to be really climbing a corporate ladder? I mean, is anybody ever happy with that anyway? My suspicion is probably not. People are on antidepressants and do all sorts of stuff to get away from that. So we're about redefining growth for its own sake. Let's be adaptive. Let's not rely on the conventional notions of the past. Let's try and reshape, again, what's going on here. Take our time, do things right, understand the whole process, understand the issues at play. And this one will probably be very familiar to most people in the room. At least to our few handful of North American folks. But you can find that you cannot eat money. Now, use and value diversity, that's the next one. So, diversify, diversify, diversify. In the natural world, you step into a forest, Andrew will probably go on about this for eons, but there's a lot of diversity, right? There's a lot of different creatures, each one performs a very, great function. When we try and translate it to, say, an average farm or whatever, it's stripped of all of that. You're growing one thing at a large scale, it's not doing so well. Business models, the same sort of things. Well, we have to do one thing, we have to maximize our profits. Probably other ways of doing it. So we're all about trying to reshape that again. It's like interdisciplinary projects, trying to find new colleagues and collaborators, new ways to expand our network, new kinds of projects to be working on, diversity in clients, not all in one sector or one specialty. Because God forbid one of those falls out, say you're a financial sector specialist these days. Not the best place to be in. We're trying to shape that thinking and go, okay, how can we find as many different opportunities as possible? And some of our client work over the last 1.5 years, we've done a pretty good job of doing just that. Always a work in progress, but there's been a large scale of different projects, some web-based, some community-oriented, some that have been more in the media and printed magazines and things like that, some around certifications. So it's a nice balance, and we're always trying to improve that. Use edges and value the margins. Now, we like to interpret this as sustainability is stale. We're really kind of sick of that S word. We're really kind of sick of it being misappropriated by everybody from arms manufacturers to people who make bleach. Well, we can make our products sustainable. We're sick of these ideas getting quite stale, and we're hung up on these things that really aren't sustainable at all. So what we're trying to do, use the edges and value the marginal. let's keep spreading out from that. Let's not use the S word so much. Let's find a new vocabulary. Let's find new ideas from people who don't call themselves green, who don't call themselves sustainable, who just have really good, genius ideas solving the problems that we're facing. So that's what we mean. We're trying to use the edges and value the marginal. We're trying to stretch the boundaries. Now this guy had a really good point. He says, I believe that sustainability will not emerge in human affairs until we begin to conduct economic activity in harmony with the principles that shape all living systems on Earth. Then we will view a business as a natural living system that thrives in the context of cooperation, restraint, and quality, not in a context of competition, growth, and accumulation. That will be sustainability, and I think he's got it spot on, so pretty good definition. Now, finally, number 12, creatively use and respond to change. Peak energy and climate change, we sort of think are the two biggest things. Depending on where you are in the world and your background and your knowledge, it might be different to you. We're thinking that, hey, business should be used to kind of creatively tackle these problems. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's not focus on the gloom and doom, because that's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more George Monbiot's we have in the room, the more screwed we are. So we need to kind of break outside of that negative notion of like, oh god, the world's going to hell, our planet's over, we're going to lose our lives and livelihoods. There's no rule saying you cannot use business for purposes other than financial gain. And if you're thinking about starting your own business, I would put that at the front of your thinking. Because there's something more rewarding than money, there's something more rewarding than financial gain. And I'd urge you to just make that jump if you're thinking about it, just go for it. You probably have a really great idea, find a way to make it work, take the risk. What have you got to lose, really? We're trying to see it as a new model, and I think this guy, Buckminster Fuller, had it pegged pretty well also. In that if you never really change anything by fighting the existing reality, by telling people, no, it can't be done, or no, don't do it this way. You have to create something that's brand new and fresh to them, that gets them excited, that makes them want to change, that makes them see a new possibility. So this is what we're about. We're trying to make an old model obsolete by making a new one. So if you remember nothing else about this presentation, remember these 7 things. Write them down now. We are facing some significant global problems that will drastically alter our way of living. There's pretty much no way around that at this point. But it's not all gloom and doom. The root of these problems can be solved at an individual level. Each one of you has choices to make. Each one of you can make a difference in that picture. So do it. Change isn't bad. In fact, doing nothing just might kill us. These are pretty big issues. We need to pay attention. We need to do something now, today, tomorrow, in our lives. Permaculture is a design philosophy based on natural principles. Very holistic thinking. Keep that in mind. It's a useful strategy guiding our business from a forward perspective. Business can be used as a tool for positive change, and ultimately the answers and solutions come from each one of us. So tomorrow doesn't need to be another yesterday. Starting from square one, we are pretty much the change that we need to see happen in the world. So let's see what happens. And that is us. Thanks for having me, and we haven't taken questions.